I once watched a billionaire build a castle just to avoid a homeowners association rule. What started as a simple landscaping job turned into the most ridiculous display of wealth I've ever witnessed. As the owner of a high-end landscaping company in Silicon Valley, I've worked for tech executives, venture capitalists, and celebrities, but nothing prepared me for the Andersons' parent, a power couple consisting of a hedge fund manager and a biotech CEO, who had purchased 12 acres in the most exclusive gated community in the area. Their first meeting with me seemed normal enough. Mrs. Anderson wanted a simple Japanese-inspired garden with authentic cherry trees and a koi pond, standard luxury request. But when I mentioned the homeowners association restrictions on water features, Mr. Anderson's expression changed. The HOA has been difficult, he said carefully. They rejected our plans for a guest house because the community has a one structure per lot rule. This was a common restriction in luxury communities to prevent overcrowding. What wasn't common was what happened next. 3 days later, I received a call asking me to attend an emergency meeting with their architects. When I arrived, the Andersons' dining room table was covered with blueprints, parent, not for a garden, but for what looked like a medieval European castle complete with towers and a moat. We found a solution to our guest house problem, Mrs. Anderson announced proudly. We're connecting everything with enclosed walkways, so technically it's all one structure. The walkways in question, a series of fully furnished, climate-controlled, 20-foot wide corridors with 14-foot ceilings built to resemble the stone hallways of a French chicolo. One would house a bowling alley, another would contain an indoor pool, a third would be a gallery for their art collection. These hallways would connect the main house to a children's wing. They had no children, a wellness pavilion, and an entertainment complex, part 10, all structures that would normally be considered separate buildings. When I asked about the cost, Mr. Anderson waved his hand dismissively. The walkways alone are about $4 million, but it's the principle of the thing. The principle, right? Construction began a month later. The HOA immediately filed complaints, but the Andersons had hired a team of lawyers who argued that by definition, a single structure can have multiple wings connected by hallways. Shoelace, everything was one building. The legal battle lasted 18 months, during which construction never stopped. The Andersons spent over $2 million in legal fees alone, on top of the $30 million for the expanded residence. The most sorrowful moment came when the HOA president stopped by during construction. He stood speechless, staring at the massive stone corridor being built, ponder complete with stained glass windows and a fireplace every 30 feet. "This is a hallway?" he finally asked. "Of course, Mrs. Anderson replied sweetly. "Just a simple connecting structure between rooms of our home. The medieval tapestries and suit of armor are just decorative touches." The HOA eventually gave up. The Andersons won. And I learned that when you have enough money, you don't break rules, pant, you just redefine them. The final insult after all that construction and legal fighting, the Andersons only used the property for about 3 weeks per year. The last I heard, they were considering selling it because they purchased an island in the Pacific where they wouldn't have to deal with restrictive regulations. Sometimes I drive by that property and look at those $4 million hallways connecting buildings that sit empty most of the year, and I think about how my team once spent 2 days arguing with a client over a $200 increase for better quality soil for their vegetable garden.